Hey YouTube, today we're going to be talking about one of the forgotten treasures of the firearm world, and it happens to be one of my favorite things to talk about. It's another pistol chambered in .45 ACP, and what we have here is a Ruger P97 DC. And before we get into this any further, we're going to show the whole YouTube world and none of those grizzly bear killing .45 ACP cartridges are in this weapon, and we are safe to watch it. So what we have here, this is a Ruger P97 DC, and this thing is chambered in the Lord's caliber .45 ACP, which is far superior to any 9mm. I'm only kidding, folks. But anyway, this thing is polymer frame on the bottom, it is stainless steel on the top, and this is a double action, single action a semi-automatic pistol. Now, this is not similar to a 1911. What this is more similar to is a 6-hour P220. The P220 was a double action, single stack 45 also. And if you look at these magazines, it looks very similar to a 1911 magazine. But rest assured, folks, it is not. These will not go into a 1911, and 1911 magazines will not go into these. These are Ruger-only magazines, and I'm sure they are costly if you go looking for them, because they're, there's not as plentiful out there. So the way this pistol operates is very similar to a 1911, almost identical to a Sig Sauer. So it has a slide lock on it right here. It's an on-slide release, folks. Please don't think of it as a slide release, because they're not. And the way this thing operates is you would chamber around just like this. And if you were carrying a 1911, you would carry it in the cocked and lock position. So this thing's cocked, but hey, what do we look here? We don't have a lock on it. There's no safety on either side. So what it has here, if you look real close, it's got a decocker on it. So you take this little lever here, and you snap it down, that drops a hammer, and a round does not go off. All it does is decock it. So when you're ready to deploy this weapon for use, your first shot is going to be a pretty heavy trigger pull, like this, because it's double action. And then on the reset, you use single action from then on. And it's a pretty light, like a 3.5 pound trigger, somewhere similar to a 1911. So actually, it's just like a double action revolver. It will work on double action, and it's got probably an 8-pound trigger pull on it. And the single action is going to be about a 3-pound. All your other shots, all your follow-up shots are going to be single action because of the slide cocking the hammer. It's a really neat design. And one of the things I like about double action, single action pistols, semi-automatic pistols for carry is people in distress situations never know what they're going to do. And when you draw this weapon out, you want to be sure that you're going to take that shot. And this gives you a moment to think about it with the heavy first trigger pull. And that's the same with Sig Sauer, double action, single actions only. They're the only ones I can think of right offhand that do that design besides Ruger. But these things came out in the 90s. And I don't think they really caught on a whole lot, but these things are awesome. I mean, they're super accurate. They're really fun to shoot. They have a decent trigger on them. They're really well made. As everybody knows, Ruger is a master of cast. And this is a cast stainless steel slide on top of it, and it is a very well made gun. You can pick these up rather affordable in today's times, and you'd have yourself a very well made gun. They're a little bit heavier than, like the today's polymer wonders, the Glocks or the Springfield XDs and stuff like that, but they're not as heavy as like a 1911. Your capacity on this thing is going to be 8 rounds in a magazine, kind of like a 1911, and 1 in the chamber. So this one here essentially holds 9 rounds of .45. If you can see, it's very similar in size to like a commander size 1911, and we'll do a comparison of what the differences is one day with the two, with the 1911 single action only and with this one, and we'll show you the size difference, some of the advantages and disadvantages. But very cool design. I mean, this decocker thing scares people that don't know what they're looking at. Kind of like carrying a 1911, and cocked and locked scares people. So when you're carrying this thing, you chamber it and you just drop this hammer just like this, and that decocks it. It literally says right on the side, decock only. It will not go off. I'm not going to do any demonstrations on camera. I don't want to freak anybody out. But if you look, it comes with regular 3-dot sight design. I don't know if I can get the other one to focus on camera or not, but that's your sight picture on it. Very neat. It's got an adjustable set screw on top, so you could adjust side to side on the sights. But very neat pistol. A lot of people have forgotten about these. They're rather somewhat inexpensive for today's standards, and you get a lot of pistol for what you pay for these things. Actually, when they were new, you got a lot of pistol for what you paid for them. They don't make them anymore. I think they stopped making this whole line somewhere around the mid-2000s. I think a lot of them were discontinued. All of them were finally discontinued. But the DC in this thing is for decock. So this is a decocker model. They made these in 9mm also. They had them in 45 and 9mm. I cannot remember whether they ever had a 40 caliber one or not. But of course, the one I own is in 45 ACP because it's the Lord's caliber. But anyway, folks, I just want to give you a rundown. I'll show you some of the close-ups of this thing and rundown of what a Ruger P97 chambered in 45 looks like. It's a really neat gun. It's a very good value for what you pay for them, and I can't find any negatives on it. But if you have any questions on it, feel free to reach out to me. I'm not an expert on them, I'm not an expert on anything, but I will surely answer anything that you ask, or I'll find the answer. Anyway, folks, thank you very much for watching this video today, and you folks have a great day.